$400 or something.
I
Go ahead with it. Austin said he's going to be here, but he'll show up a little bit late. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate, you guys giving me the opportunity to come out. I know that Tina and Treva talk a lot. I've been out to a couple of meetings and, we're here to do whatever we can to try to help.
Yeah.
Part of our job is, so you guys know, is when we come in to help communities, and we're trying to specialize in just the smaller communities, because bigger communities tell you that they know everything, but they're more of a pain. Yes, I understand they have more money, but it's not all about the money. You learn that the older we get. But our goal is to help you guys out to the point where in 2 or 3 years, we've given you all the information that you guys need. And, then at that point, we're only here when you guys have questions, reach out, whatever it may be. So the services that we offer are ADA, which is one of the big things, helping small communities get compliant with all their ADA stuff. We act as owner's reps. So if you're doing a project, helping you get through those projects. And we've been doing a lot of that with municipalities who are doing this BOT program.
What's that?
So you don't know about the BOT.
I feel like I've heard of it.
It's build, operate, transfer.
Okay.
So one of our governors put that into play a few years ago, and then became president of the university here in the state. And what BOT? What BOT is to alleviate the low bid process. The BOT is the contractor owns it. You go through the process. When the project's complete, the ownership switches from them to you.
That's what I heard.
So when it first came out, it was just like any government program. It's a great program. So all the contractors or whatever the situation may be starts going through and they figure out how to manipulate the system. That here's a loophole in the language. So what takes place is, and this was my argument at the very beginning, because I sat on the board between Purdue and the city of West Lafayette, because they started the BOT with the State Street project. It's Daniel's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so is this on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we won't go into details, but what's taking place now is contractors are coming in and they give you a guaranteed price. I don't agree with the fact that you're paying them monthly as they go. My idea is if this is BOT, you own it till you're done. You're the contractor. If it's a $10 million project, that's your money. We're not giving you a dime. When the building is done, then we're going to pay you. That's not how it works. You give them a monthly draw every single month. Don't agree with it, but I'm not an attorney and I don't write the language for it. So what we're seeing now is, and we've been hired to do different communities on big projects that are taking place. And the one project that we're dealing with right now is Frankfurt's building a new fire station. So we're overseeing as a rep for the city of Frankfurt to make sure that the contractor is not taking shortcuts. Because they give you a guaranteed price, but they always come back and say, well, there's a change order. Here's a change order. Here's a change order.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but you gave them a guaranteed price if there's a change order, there should be a deduct and not an add-on. So now I'll talk about deducts. Because what happens in construction is on the deduct, it's pennies on the dollar what they're gonna give you back. And I'm just gonna give you an example. So you're doing this building and all of a sudden you guys decide during the project that, you know what? We don't need this wall. So they decide, no, well, you know, that's $600. That's a deduct of $600. My job is to say, yeah, no. You got electrician involved.
Yeah.
You got the door guys involved. You got your carpenter involved. You got the painter involved. You got the ceiling guy involved. This is a $6,000 or $7,000 deduct, not a $600 deduct. They get mad because I force them to print it all out, just like if it was a change order as an add-on, because they give you a detail.
Right.
You show me the detail, so you get mad. You don't need the no smoking sign. You don't need this. All of a sudden, it becomes a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 deduct instead of a $600. So that's where we work with you guys on your behalf, is to make sure when those things are happening. We also fight on the other half when they say, here's an add-on. No, that's not an add-on because you gave us a guaranteed price. We have a drawing, here's the drawing, we're gonna do it, what's on the drawing, and there is no add-ons. This was our bottom line, this is what we're gonna give you for this project, and we're not gonna give you a dime more. They fight back, but I continue to push. We also work with all the subcontractors because there's give and take. Hey, you know, can we move this over 3 or 4 feet? So we investigate to make sure it doesn't change anything else 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps down the road. So we keep track of that because then when they come back and say, we have to add this. Oh, do you remember when we didn't do a deduct because we let you take that out, make your job easier? This is the give and take. So you can do that, but you're not going to charge us anymore. So that's where we act as owner's rep. And we also help you when they give you the bills to make sure that they're billing you for what is actually done and the things are all actually on site. Or if they're not on site, that they're in a warehouse someplace, that you're not going to give them full money because it's in a warehouse, but you're going to give them part of it. Because this is what they do. And when they tend, because most of the contracts say 10%. 10% of what? So we track that as well. So that's what we do as owners reps. A couple of the other things we do is we act, facilities managers too, is we help you. And we don't do a whole lot of this in the smaller municipalities, but some of the manufacturing facilities that we deal with. And that is contractors come in and want to bill you an HVAC contractor. They've got 2 guys at the plant that they're billing before. We track that stuff for those guys, is to say. We also give them a list of, when you're coming in to do the equipment, here's the equipment, and you need to write everything out that says your Megan motors, your Omen motors, if it's HVAC, what is the suction, what is the liquid pressures on the air conditioning system. We want to know what all those numbers are, because then we can start tracking it and seeing when there's going to be, anticipating when there's going to be an issue. And then we also help them from a budgetary standpoint, say, you know, this piece of equipment's 25 years old, life expectancy is probably another 5 to 7 years. You need to start budgeting for that now. So, and then the other thing we do act as construction managers too. So we're doing a fraternity house on campus that we're doing the home design build for them and hiring all the contractors to do the work. So those are the 4 aspects of what we do as a company. I think probably one of the biggest things that we're doing, and I don't know where you guys stand with Benton County, but Audubon now does all their own inspections for the town.
Yeah.
So
Benton County was starting to, yeah.
So Benton County, Audubon has hired us to do all the building inspection stuff. So we're doing all the easements, right of ways, building inspections. We're in the process of writing up the building code that they're gonna follow in the town. We're also in the process of putting together the zoning as in R1, R2, business, industrial, whatever. So we're in the process of putting all that together for them too. So that's kind of who we are and what we do. And now we're going to open up to say, you know, what is it that you guys are looking for? Because I don't want to give you something that you're not really looking for. You know, is there something we can do to help? Is it ADA that says, you know, because the big thing right now, as you guys probably know, CCMG, if you don't have your ADA documents in place, they won't even look at if you're applying for grants. let's back up. Right now, they're also looking at if you don't have all the paperwork done and your bidding process taken care of, they won't even look at your grant anymore. You have to do all that stuff. So it's money out of your pocket until the money is granted. The reasoning for that is they were getting bombarded with so many applications for grants that probably were never going to happen. So this is their way of saying, unless you have a project that you're really going to do, and if you put your money up front, then we know that you're willing to do it. And there was $60 million that they didn't give out in grant money for last year that they're saying it's first come, first serve. If you have a project that you got all your information, that's two of the things they just voted on it, audited, because it's already done. So they're applying for the CCMG grants because of all the other paperwork, the engineering and stuff has already been done.
What are they using those for?
Community crossing grants.
No, I'm saying what's Otterburn plan on using those for, just out of
They're
curiosity.
doing some work at the wastewater treatment plant, and there was like 2 projects there, and then there was another project. I can't remember what the other project was. There's another project somewhere that they had applied for, that the bids are going out for, whatever. Well, they got to do that. You want me to shut that blind?
Yeah, we send that behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that,
Oh, yeah.
that time of year.
Okay.
So,
I was blinded. Thank you.
Should have yelled at me.
I think they're doing a storm.
Stormwater fund.
Yeah. So that's what that's what they've already got all the paperwork done for that. With BMS is doing that for them. So, the 2 will go, it'll be put out for bid. A third one is they have to advertise for the bids first, and then they'll go for bid.
Okay.
But the first 2 they want the bids back before the next meeting, so it's a pretty quick turnaround. Not big, huge projects, but big enough that, that because they've already got the legwork done, that they can apply for the money. Now, I'm gonna throw this out because you asked that question. Have you guys been contacted by the Lilly grant community? Lilly is giving a lot of money away right now. And there's a deadline for any project that you may have coming up to less than $125,000. And then there's a little bit later deadline for larger projects. And we got called into a couple that we put in some numbers for Joyful Journey in West Lafayette, which you probably know about. They're wanting to do some renovating in the building, and it's going to be less than $125,000. So we put a package deal together for them, so they can apply for that with Lilly, which there's a lot of money that Lilly's trying to give out. So if you have little projects,
Yeah.
you may
Well,
want to
I'm just thinking out loud, they wanted this big project out there. That's not work it out.
I mean, yeah.
if we can
Yeah.
find them, the only thing about it is breaking it up, that's what I was thinking too, instead of millions of dollars.
Well, we
But
pay
you still
millions of
gotta-
dollars, It's all to the lawyers and the engineers.
But we still gotta find grants or something that will
Yeah.
support even those little ones, because we can't afford the loans.
And is that something that you guys do?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question, because this is the way I'm gonna tell you exactly the way I tell other people. And that is because Joyful Journey is a 501(c)(3). We will write the documents for you and get numbers for you and not charge you a dime. So we could put a package together for you to say, hey, we want to redo a park.
Right.
And we want to put all this equipment in there. So we'll go out and put the package together for you to say, here's the equipment you want, here's what the ground prep is going to be. We need water, we need electricity, we'll put all that together in the paperwork, and then you fill out your application and send that with it. And then we put the estimates on what it's going to cost to do that. And then they'll either grant it to you or not. And we don't charge a dime for that, because we want
Just
you
like
guys
cost
to
of doing business
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
because my thing is, we want a relationship with you guys to do the right thing. And if we can do things like that, you're gonna understand that we're here to help you, and we're not a contractor that says, I'm gonna make big money on this project.
Right. Because my thoughts are like, kind of like Tina, just thinking out loud. One of the big things right now on our plate is the possibility of needing to replace this filter media out at the water treatment plant. I don't know if that's even in the realm, but I'm just thinking out loud of
There's some
like,
upgrades that need to be done out there.
So tell me about it.
that's about all I know.
They're telling us we need all this, but we really don't, probably do. need
The
it,
the
but-
big project, the big scope, we have a copy of that. But it's a big project. It's like $3.8 million.
Okay.
But what we've been talking about, obviously, we're going through this massive project with the main coming through and all that. And originally, this $3.8 million project out of the water treatment plants were supposed to be part of this current project, but it was split into two. Altogether, it's almost $9 million project altogether. 3.8 is the second portion, or phase 2, might I say, out at the water treatment plant, replacing and updating a whole bunch of equipment, making it, we've got, I think, hydraulic. There's a scope of work. But essentially replacing valves and this and that with electronic valves instead of hydraulic valves, so they're more reliable. And it's older, it's got age on it, and then on top of that, we're getting to the end of our lifespan with our filter media, and that's going to be a I don't even know how much. We're waiting on a quote on that, but it's going to be a loan, I know that. So just little stuff like that. Do you guys, I don't know where you guys start and where you end, but possibilities for road repair stuff. I don't know if that's in your realm, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
If you can dream it up, we probably need it.
So let's talk about the filter side of this, because here's part of, it'll be 30 years that I've been in business, 30 years on this October. And our job is to go find the contractors that are going to be the best contractors to fit your needs. You guys don't need a mechanical contractor that's going to build a Lucas Oil Stadium.
Right.
You need a mechanical contractor that's going to be able to come in here and do the smaller things that you guys deal with. Filter materials. We deal a lot with the filter company in Frankfurt, where they manufacture them. And then there's a company in Lafayette, it's called CCP Filters, who, I'm just going to tell you now that for me to buy, and this is just a small example, I understand. For me to buy the filters for my house, which are 16 by 25 by 1, I can buy a case of filters from CCP Filters for $26 for the pleated filters. Not fiberglass, pleated filters for the 12 of them. So every month I change them out. If I were to go to the local supply house, if I go to big box stores, I'm going to spend $40 on 3 of them.
Right.
That's the difference. So that's what part of what we would bring to the table with you is, let's bring the right people in. I don't want to bring in, again, some big mechanical contractor out of Indianapolis or electrical contractor out of, Champaign, Illinois, or
Sure.
whatever. That we're going to bring the right people in here to do the things to help you guys from a pricing standpoint, because that's what it all comes down to.
Right.
You guys don't have millions of dollars to do things that you don't have those budget numbers to do. So that's our job, is to help you through that process. To say, here's who you need to reach out to. We're going to help you reach out to these people and say, hey, there's a project going on here. We just looked at a project with Ryan Gilman.
Yeah.
Gilman, it's not Gilman.
I know, Ryan.
Gilby. He's
Oh.
he's with the Benton School Corporation,
Okay.
doing some work at the well house, putting in a new generator system. So they got a couple prices that were really high, and then we went and he called up and said, "Can you help us out?" So we went and got prices, and they were almost half of what he got from the other people from 2 different companies. So that's our job, is to help you through that process. Our fee for that is going to be very little. That we'll make some phone calls for you. If we have to drive out here, that's one thing. But if we can just say, "Hey, meet so and so at the site," then I don't need to bill you for anything if I'm not coming out here. So
Yeah, that was another, I guess, what I was leading up to as well. Like, how, obviously, you coming in and kind of telling us what you guys do and how you facilitate these sort of projects for other people. How does that work with a billing standpoint, like, is this like you typically do a contract with the town as you're the consultant for, is it X amount of time or to oversee X project, or is it like an attorney billed by the work that you do, or like how is pricing structured for you guys towards the municipality like us? Just how's that work?
I'm just gonna say, it all depends on what you want,
Right.
because everybody's looking at it differently. I can go to Audubon. Audubon.
Yeah.
It's 12 hours a week.
Okay.
Up to 12 hours a week. Doesn't mean it's 12. It might
Sure.
be 8, it might be 6, it might be 11. If it's 14, I'm only going for 12,
Right.
because that's the agreement that we have, is if I go over the week, that's on me. If I'm under, that saves you guys money. So that's how we do it with Audubon.
Okay.
Tipton County, the contract that we have for Tipton County, it's a not to exceed for the whole entire year. So if they call me up 100 times in the first 6 months, and after 6 months, it's,
Yeah.
well, we've extended your budget, now if you want to go back and appropriate money, that's up to you, but places like Tipton County realize that, okay, don't call them
Yeah.
100 times in 6 months,
Right.
so, but again, we look at it, what's in your best interest. I will tell you that any numbers that we give you, everything will be not to exceed. And our goal is to always come under that. If we say 12, we want to do it in 7, 8, or 9.
Sure.
So that's.
And that's what you mean when you say, when you first started talking about this, you said, your goal is the first 2, 3 years. I mean, you're going to be pretty involved to help out, but then after the fact, the majority of the people working in the town, best case scenario, right, have been here for all of those years, and they're going to have the knowledge and the contacts, and that kind of backs you off.
Right.
Essentially what Treva's doing with you
Yeah.
in the clerk's office.
Same thing. That's our goal is, I want to give you guys as much information as possible that you can say, we don't need to call Tim on this. Let's call, Susie Smith and
Sure.
have her just come out direct, because now you guys have the contacts as well.
Right.
And it's the same way with ADA, is because you have to have somebody designated as the ADA coordinator.
Right.
Who is that now?
We don't know.
Might be you. I don't know.
I can't. 'Cause that's what other people have said, is we're just gonna make you our ADA coordinator. It's like, I can only be your ADA coordinator if I'm actually on your payroll.
That's
As a
true.
consultant, I'm not on the payroll.
Sure.
So, I have to be on the payroll to be your ADA coordinator, but I can tell you this. Of all the communities, which we have 14 communities now that we're doing ADA stuff with, is we're the ADA coordinator, but somebody else is the designee.
Sure.
So, and what they've done is they set up an email address. Most of them are just access for all.
Yeah.
Email at, oxford.edu.gov or whatever. And it's on my phone, and then I get those emails.
Sure.
So if something comes up, somebody has a question, and it's the city of Frankfurt or Tippecanoe County or Clinton County or Tipton County or Miami County or Hendricks County, I can see it. It comes to me, so I see those things. I take the test, but if you're the designated ADA coordinator, I let you know what's going on. And hey, I've got to take this test, because that's one of the things that they're pushing right now is Title VI exam, which is a 30-question test. It's put on by INDOT. I got to go online and take it, but I go in there as the access for all at oxford.edu.gov. I take the exam. I say I'm you.
Right.
You get the result back. So and that's what everybody is saying is, here's the person that's designated, but Tim's doing the work on the backside. But then I'm training you or whoever's the ADA coordinator of what's going on. The big thing that we're finding with ADA coordinators right now is that small municipalities it's usually become the board member or council board member. What if you decide not to run for re-election?
Right.
Or what if you don't want re-election? Whatever that case may be. Because it takes you 2 years to go through the program to get certified.
Right.
You have to take classes to get certified as the ADA coordinator. They want to see that you're moving to that direction. This is what we're running into in Dayton right now. The lady that's the ADA coordinator is talking about not running this fall
What are we gonna do now?
What, yeah, and that was my question in the meeting on Tuesday night was, well, if she decides not to run, or she runs and doesn't win, what is your plan as the committee? Because she's already taken classes and she doesn't come back, what is your backup plan? Well, we don't have one. It's like, you need to have a backup plan.
Sure.
You know, there's a backup plan, and the guy that's their facilities wastewater guy,
Sure.
Kurt was sitting right beside me. He's like, no, it's not gonna be me.
Right.
So I understand, but you know, it's usually better to have somebody in that situation, but you run into that too, where Kurt might say in 6 months, you know what, I got a job or someplace else, I'm leaving.
Right.
You always have to have a backup plan as who else is going to be here to do your ADA stuff. So that's one of the reasons why we just say, we're gonna help you take care of it. And then once we get everything done, put your transition plan together, put your Title VI policy together, your service animals, OPDMD, other power-driven mobility devices, and you start putting all that stuff together. You're going to be working, whoever is going to be working along with us to get all that stuff done, and then you're going to understand it. At that point, in 2 years from now, because you guys are going to have a whole lot less than some of these other ways. All you're really going to be keeping up on is what are the changes they're making to know what paperwork you have to get sent in. And that's our job, is to say, you know, and we'll do that over the next 2 years, is to say, here's what's coming. You know, what's coming for you guys is your IT stuff has to be February of 2027, has to all be accessible.
Right.
And you say, what does that mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a big computer person. So.
Right.
So what that means is your website has to be accessible.
It's now.
All your documents on your website have to be accessible. So any board meetings, committee meetings, whatever, RDC meetings, anything that you have has to be set up in a certain format, because if I'm visually impaired, when it's reading, it's got to read it the way it is on, you know, so if you do my way of doing something, well, the spacing's not right, so I just do space, 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 space. Well, if you're blind or visually impaired, it reads space, 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 and then continues.
Right.
That's not, that all has to be in the right format. So then you go back, because they're expecting you to go back to 2018 and redo all your documents all the way back to 2018 for anything that you have, and make them all accessible.
That ain't gonna be cheap.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you, because I've already told Daphne Keys, who's the attorney for NDOT, the ADA attorney for NDOT, is I'm just telling the communities that we work with is pick a date, 2023, January 1. We're gonna start working backwards to that date. She said, why? And I said, they don't have the resources, number one. They don't have the money to pay for this and to go all the way back. She said, well, what if somebody wants to see something in 2018? I said, then you put something on your website that says, if this is prior to January of 2023, call us and we'll go to that document and change that one document for you.
Correct.
Instead of doing everything, and honestly, truly, you're probably never going to get somebody to call you and say,
No.
You know, why do I have to go back to 2018?
Right.
You know, if I'm in Marion County, maybe, but
Benton County.
yeah,
The
it's not-
possibility.
You're not gonna see, you have to have a grievance procedure. What is your grievance procedure? If somebody complains that something's not right, you have to have that in place. It's gotta be on your website, you know, so. And those forms are the same way. The forms have to be put together correctly, otherwise someone that's visually impaired can't, it doesn't read correctly to that person. So those are the things we help, you know, let us help you. Trust me, don't expect this to be done in a year.
Right.
I've been working with the city of West Lafayette since 2011,
Right.
putting their ADA stuff together. And it's an ever-changing thing. Because then the other thing is you have updates. We have updates in 2020. You know, so you have to look at a project and when I go to any building, I look at it and go, yeah, that's not ADA compliant. Then my mind has to go back to
Was it back
designed in
then?
2010 when this was done, but the standards of change is not. But you have to have the document to say it was done prior to 2010.
Sure.
You know, so after 2010, before 2020, and you met those standards, and you don't have to change that until you're redoing a sidewalk.
Right.
You're gonna replace a sidewalk. Now you have to make it to the 2020 standards. But you got a document saying it was done between 2010 and 2020, so it's a lot.
I know what you're thinking.
You're thinking, how much is this gonna cost us, right?
Yeah.
You know?
She's thinking about the new town hall. We just acquired the church over here off Fifth Street and had some, I mean, we made a lot of changes, you know, the door handles and all of that.
That's not legal.
Right. We did a fair amount, but I mean, like those bathrooms won't ever be ADA compliant. They're like a 24-inch door, you know what I mean? Yeah, but the bathroom, you could fit a wheelchair in it if you wanted to. They're so small.
I think one of my biggest one was our exterior doors,
They go out.
and there's
There's no
no
landing.
way for them.
Oh, there's a
to open.
You
landing.
don't have to have a push button.
Okay, not
Push
not
buttons,
that that's,
yeah.
but we have a lot of people who I help out here, even here to open the door for. I'm not even gonna be able to see them in that building.
So the minimum standard is, because I hear this a lot, is the push button. The minimum standard is if you're a federal building, it has to have a push button. If you want to put one in, great, because it's over and above the standards, but
Sure.
the only buildings that are required are federal buildings. So
Yeah, it's accessible. It rolls
off the
down to the
road,
to the road at the end of the sidewalk and all that, and it's a smooth roll up with a crash bar pushing out.
which is required.
Yeah, but
The pull on the exterior door does not have to be less than 5 pounds, because it's an exterior door, because you don't want to blow a building. But
Sure.
all interior doors have to be 5 pounds or less. So, yeah, we look at all that stuff with you, you know,
Right.
where your handicap parking spots.
there's none marked. It's all gone. I mean, there's no lines or anything anymore out there. It's all weathered and gone over there.
You have to have at least one. 1 in 25, if there's 25 parking spots. If there's 0 to 25, one of them has to be ADA accessible. If there's 26, there has to be 2. So for every 25, you add another one. And if there's only one, it's gotta be van accessible, which is 16 feet wide. And if it's a slanted parking lot,
It is.
it has to be on the right side. If it's straight in, it can be on either side. The accessible aisle.
So they get back in and pull in. I guess,
These are all the things that you need to know, I mean, that you're gonna go through. And, you know, somebody's can complain because you're renovating a building, that the restroom has to be accessible. And you say they're not big enough, it's, well, if you're renovating the building, you have to make something accessible.
what we did was we replaced pre-existing doors. Frames stayed the same. Doors were just replaced because they were old hollow core like this, and they were going to be offices with sensitive information in them. So they were replaced with steel doors, but they were commercial mortised in frames. So we replaced those, and then the exterior crash bar out for other exterior doors and whatnot. But that's, I mean, pretty well all we did, other than putting a clerk's window in the front for utilities and a utility drop box. But
27-inch counter.
it's pretty low.
Yeah,
I mean, you can have the normal,
Yeah.
but you also have to have a low counter for someone that's in a wheelchair. It's required.
Well, I'll have to measure that. So I guess sorry, I keep yapping. Another question I have is, say, obviously this, your guys' expertise is something that we could obviously use. Is that something that you would put a quote together depending on
What you're asking.
conversation, on that sort of thing, or how's that work?
So I guess my initial thoughts right now with what we're talking about is we would probably put something together to say, when you call us, here's our hourly rate. We're anticipating 15 hours for this project. That we would go that route, opposed to like we're doing Audubon where we say they're giving us 12 hours a week.
Right.
Because I don't think you have that much at this point. That's when we're looking at projects. From an ADA standpoint, I would say we probably need to give you, I'm gonna tell you, we'd probably give you a quote per year for the next 3 years to try to give you the 3-year span.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do it in a small community, trying to do it in a year or two.
Mhm.
Spreading that out a little bit longer because budgets are budgets.
Sure.
You guys are hit hard with the new budget restraints for 2026 and now, because you're probably starting to look at budgets already for 2027. So, from an ADA standpoint, we'll probably give you more something to say, we're looking at X number of dollars this year and, that's something that, monthly or quarterly, whatever, that we're gonna start working on those things for you. But as far as projects are concerned, because you're looking at something different than what Audubon is.
Sure.
That is, if you're gonna renovate a building like that, let us come in and, do walkthroughs with you and with your contractor.
Yeah.
But that would be an individual case by case
Sure.
situation.
That'd be hey, give you a call. Hey, when are you available to
What about the water? park?
That's,
Can I
yeah,
take a look at that?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea.
That'd be great.
And we've already got, the hard part's done, right? We've paid Commonwealth to do the work and the
PER and stuff.
the legwork of saying this is what you guys need. We got that on paper. We paid for it.
We haven't paid for it yet.
Oh.
That
We haven't paid for it yet.
We've been billed.
Okay.
So that's part of phase 2 where that money's sitting, waiting to be
That's what
paid
I
still.
want us to do, basically.
Yeah.
My thoughts are, is it something we can break up and try to get smaller grants? They want to try to get us an SRF, but, that's probably gonna be more of a loan. We could get contractors and if we get the other grant for $750 and hire contractors, that really makes a lot of a, I don't know.
You guys applied for some of the Ready 2 money, right?
Yes, that's for the Pine Village. They want us to do Pine Village.
Or Village, yeah.
And, nobody's really told us if it's in our best interest. We don't even know, they're trying to say this because,
Understand.
yeah,
Problem being is there's a lot of people that want us to do a lot of things all at once.
Yeah.
And
Well, they don't understand that. It's funny you say that, and I don't know if Davis told you this story, but there was a contractor in town, in Oxford, in Audubon, that when they were doing a project, and he literally sat in the room and said, well, just go get a loan. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way with the municipality.
Right.
We know what we're bringing in. We can't go out and say, oh, well, if you want to come to a town council meeting, you got to pay to come through the door. No,
well, the money they got is for that second project is all alone. I think
Really?
$7 million loan. That's not a lot of money, you have to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of money
Yeah,
is
so-
for.
I hear that on so many occasions where, these contractors are just like, just go get a loan. Well, we're not in the business to do what you guys do and put markups on like you guys do.
Right.
We can only bring in so much money. We're controlled by the state, we're controlled by the federal. So, in that case, we could go out there and just take a look,
Yeah.
walk around and take a look and read what documents you have and help you through that process to say,
I think that would be a really good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I guess you've done this, how many did you say, 13 different municipalities?
14.
14. With kind of the stuff we're talking about, obviously you kind of have a little bit of a gauge as to what we're looking for. And I would assume that would help you with how you would structure a quote for us. And we could, if you're able to get us something like that and we're able to look it over and maybe sit down with you again and kind of have you spell it out for us. And maybe if we're like, well, maybe the 12 hours a week is more cost effective and we have enough stuff around here to keep you busy doing that. Or maybe it's like we don't have enough of that stuff. And like you said, here's our hourly rate and you just call us when you need us, that sort of thing.
But we want to help you too in the aspect of this is where it's because we've done, and I'm going to look at Benton County right now, and that is if Benton County comes to you and says, You now have to have your own department to do your own inspections because we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
We've already done the paperwork in other places,
Right.
in other communities in Benton County that we can say, you don't have to pay for something, you're not paying for something we've already done all the work. It's
Copy and paste.
That's all I'm gonna do is copy and paste and change everything over to Oxford and.
This is a non-related question. It is related to that, but not related to this town. Was that a headache to do Otterburn since it's split between Tippecanoe County and Benton?
If you only knew.
So you had to do that paperwork on both sides of the, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, because originally it was just Benton County did the whole entire town.
Yeah.
Then when they split it off, it was, Tippecanoe County says you're gonna follow these ordinances and Benton County says, and they're, going to look at Tippecanoe County's books and look at the differences. I've read everything in the Benton County side too, and it's like, do you guys even know everything that you have in here? I'm like, no. So it's written for the town, but it's already written. So, that's something that we would just turn around and say, you're gonna do the exact same thing because
Right.
It's not 127 pages.
Right.
It's more like 36. And it hits the things that you guys are going to see on a regular basis.
Right.
When you look at some of these, all they do is take the IBC International Building Code, the building code book, and that's how they wrote it. Well, you don't need a lot of that stuff. You look at setbacks in the front, setbacks on the side, the rear of the yard, what depths do you want your footers, you're looking at, where your easement stuff, you're looking at the building code as far as the building itself. Yeah, you're gonna follow pretty much along with what goes on there. I recommend this all the time, and it is don't build them like they're building in Tippecanoe County, where if I'm looking out my bedroom window, I can shake hands with the person across in the next house. Why? Because your wall, that wall, and that other person's wall needs to be a 3-hour rated wall. Why? Because if this one catches on fire, that one's gonna catch on fire too. And they haven't adopted that yet. It's like, make them put distance between your houses. If you're out in the country, so, you're still a small town, but, look at those things. And those are the things that we bring up into theirs is to say, these are the things that we expect you to do. You're gonna put in a deck, this is what you have to do. If you're gonna put a new roof, don't care. Just do it right.
Right.
If you put up new gutters, that's up to you. Hire somebody that's reputable.
Yeah.
If you're gonna build a new house, if you're gonna put in the shed, if you're putting in a shed that's less than 120 square feet, there's no permit fee.
Right.
If it's more, it's $35.
Right.
That's the fee. So, but I can tell you, this is the start of the fourth year that they've been collecting money for permits. They've collected over $57,000 for permitting fees.
And the town gets it.
Every town.
We need to start then. We gotta figure out how to rank.
And then we just
I think we have
negotiated-
houses going up that don't even get permits.
I think they'll have one next door.
Yeah.
And then we just negotiated for a cell tower to be on the town property, so that's, in the third, because they wanted a 50-year contract, the 30-year contract will make $380,000 in 30 years for the tower. So,
Okay.
Do we have that?
No, I said we'll take two.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, we just let people want for free.
Yes, we do.
so,
Yeah.
those are some of the things, we're here to help small towns. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. So now we're gonna talk about my history of Oxford. So, I graduated from Purdue in 1985. So you know how old I am, how young I am. We rented property off of Gary Bros, Gary and Linda, at Gary's mom's house off of, was it 600?
Probably, yeah.
In the late 80s. And people who don't around here don't know this, so you're gonna learn this today. And that is, I set up the second quarantine facility in the United States to ship embryos from cattle to Australia.
Yeah, you told us.
I did
You
tell you
did.
guys that. That's right. I did tell you guys that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
And Mel Gibson had some of his animals in Benton County to ship
That's-
embryos to his facility in Australia.
that's
It's
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much
It
so.
was really cool, so. And whole thing changed, but. But, you know, and then Dan Patch.
Yeah, wasn't there something to do with mob?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
thought so.
But I didn't know who Dan Patch was, you know, but then it was like, everybody told me this is, and there was a barn or something over here,
Yeah,
one point
barn.
had it on the roof,
Yep.
1 point, whatever, 5.7 or 1.5, whatever it was. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you had the bull Dan Patch.
Yeah.
It rose that, it sold for $3 million at auction.
No,
You know,
I think, I mean,
I would like to see it come down.
So let me go back, and let me put something together to do a walkthrough on the wastewater.
Yeah.
Then I'll put something together to start you guys on, from the ADA standpoint. And I'll just put a generic, you know, if you call us for any type of little projects or whatever, that is gonna be a as per project basis.
sure.
You know, and it'll be a not to exceed, and whatever those hours are, you know, to help you do that process.
Yeah.
You know, and then if we build into more to that, if you guys end up looking at starting to do all your permitting and stuff, we can help you do that phase. And again, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than what somebody else is paying us because it's already done. So,
Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to have to be the case if
Yeah.
Benton County's given it up and leaving it on the
Get
towns.
around because what we run into is, they end up letting people just willy-nilly do stuff.
Well,
And we that run into that all the time.
I got a call today asking about, wanting to put a drive, side street parking like some of the other places do. We don't have anything here that I can say, no, you can't do that, or because we don't have anything in the ordinance, so the only thing I can do is tell them to call Matt Hall. because
Refer
he's
to the
so
Benton
close.
Benton County, yeah.
Get that under place. Filling up a lot of big barns and everything.
well, what happens is, and what we see is 20, 30, 40 years from now, you know, I'll be dead and gone by then, but that's when you really run into issues because it's like, well, why did they let you do this? We don't know.
Yeah.
It was done. Nobody stopped it. So, well, we don't allow that. Well, then the neighbor says, well, I want to do the same thing. Well, you can't do it because our ordinance now is, you have to grandfather that in because it was already done, but you now can't do it. Well, why can't I do it?
It'll be a headache initially.
It'll become a headache for somebody.
And we do have a lot of people that call in wanting to do the right. They know that they should be getting something or
Some
usually,
permit, yeah.
but we don't have anything like that here, so. So, and again, talking about the money
If
wise,
we can
we're
keep
losing
that
out.
that money ourselves.
And I can tell you that the money that Audubon is collecting is gonna go up. Cause that's one of the things we just did. We just made phone calls to a lot of the communities that are doing their own permitting. Cause their permit fees are so low. I mean, extremely low. And I'll say that because we've been doing it for over 3 years, but somebody in the town on the Tippecanoe County side went to the county to get a permit. County gave them a permit, even though that they're supposed to say that's controlled by the town. So I get the call that says somebody's building a garage, and I was like, they don't have a permit. Well, that's why I'm calling you. So I drive to their house, walk up to the door, and the permits in the window is the Tippecanoe County permit. I knock on the door, the homeowner comes in the door, and I said, it was a lady, and I said, you know, you're building a garage, and you have electric permit, and you have a building permit. She said, yeah, we got it from the county. I said, but the county has no jurisdiction over this. This is all controlled by the town of Audubon. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Why didn't they
Sure.
tell me? And I said, well, they should have told you. So standing on her porch, I called the county and said, hey, look, you know, you guys gave these guys a permit. Oh, that was our mistake. So my response then was you need to reimburse them for the permitting fees so they can get the permit from us. Well, the garage is almost done, and we've already done the footer inspection, we've already done the framing inspection. It's like, I understand that you've already done those things, but
It's still
you
off.
did. It was $1,200 for the permits.
And it was gonna be
With the
what,
town, it
35?
was less than 120,
Right, yeah.
Wow.
and they paid $1,200. She was upset. She's like, I want my money back. It's like, at this point, you heard the phone call, you're gonna have to go fight them for it because they're, you know, they're not gonna listen to me.
Right.
So she went to see them and they said, sorry, but you're already to the point where we've already done inspections.
Oh,
We would give her money back. It's like, we need to increase our fees from 120 for the size that they were building Cause for us, it's by the square foot, maximum of $200, you know, so they were well under that, but they take $1,200 for the fee, for the two fees combined. And I'm like,
Well, yikes.
we're missing the boat.
Yeah,
But we don't wanna charge $1,200,
sure.
but I think that, you know, $300 or $400 would be more.
I guess the other thing too, if we do our own building inspection, you know, we got a lot of rundown buildings, and they're trying to improve them. If you run into it, what we run into is with these rundown buildings, somebody bought them a long time ago and they don't wanna fix it. So they kind of wait you out. And at some point, we're kind of almost responsible for it because we're the ones going after them. They don't take care of it. We ran into that. So what do you do then? I mean,
So if you have your own building inspection department, because now it falls under the county, but if you have your own, then you can go condemn the building. As the town. Now it falls under the county, so you have to go to the county, get them to condemn it.
well, they condemned houses, then when they move back
Correct. Multiple times.
multiple times. That's what we gotta get away from that.
That's what you run into now, you know, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because if you control it, then you can say, you know, I mean, we got two buildings in Ogden that we're getting ready to tear down, so. The owners don't want to do anything, it's like, you know, it's a hazard, it's a health hazard, number one. Number two, there's kids going into your buildings that are falling down, so. Well, if you're not gonna tear it down, we are.
You try to just recoup that money by leaning the property.
That's what we do. Yeah. So
No, that's awesome.
I'd love to see that.
so those are the things we do. We're
Yeah.
just, again, we're here to help and help you in any way, shape, or form. The biggest way is to try to save you as much money as possible.
No, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds like you guys have been around for a minute and seen a lot of things and have a lot of contacts that are beneficial to a small municipality like this. And I would absolutely love to.
Well, let me go back. and
Yeah.
Put those together. I'll put together again for the wastewater, the phase 2. Is that what you're calling it?
That's yeah,
The WTP improvements.
water treatment plant.
That's, yeah,
improvements,
the water.
Right. I'm just going by what's, because that's how I'm gonna put it on my paperwork is WTP improvements. Something for ADA and then just a flat, you know, per project or hourly rate.
Yeah.
It's gonna list, my rate, it's gonna list a field supervisor and then it would list, any paperwork that gets done in the office, which obviously is a whole lot less rate than what I'm gonna charge. So,
I do have one more question. Now, if we go like the building, you know, inspector kind of process, would the county overstep us if there's a problem? No.
so it all falls in your lap. You
Okay.
take it over. It becomes your policy. So,
And I'm assuming that's kind of why Otterben is structured in that way with their contract through you guys, that 12 hours a week, because you are out there doing these building inspections and all of that.
Yep.
Which makes more sense. If we take something like that on, we would need you, you know, weekly or on the books weekly in case something like that comes up. That makes sense.
yeah, because the biggest thing in this one, what we ran into in Ogden is we're gonna pick a day that the contractors know that I'm going to be in town on a Monday
Mhm.
or a Thursday or whatever it happens to be, pick a day. You know, and at the very beginning, when we started down in Ogden, it was, hey, can you do an inspection tomorrow? No, because I'm gonna be in Tipton, or I'm gonna be in
Yeah.
Miami County or whatever. Well, when are you gonna be here? It's like, I'll be there on Tuesday. Well, is there any way you can come sooner than that? We got that at the very beginning. Well, now that any of the people that are coming to town, they know that your inspection is gonna be on Tuesday or Thursday. You
Right.
know, unless it's an absolute, we have a big issue, then, you know, we'll make a trip out. I don't charge mileage, I don't charge a trip fee, you know, from the time I leave my office to here, there's no bill. Your bill doesn't start till I'm on job.
Or you can space time.
I don't want it.
Okay.
So,
It's not too bad of a drive.
you know, no, used to drive it every day.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah,
you.
you do now too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You know, so,
Is that something you guys want as well, like just in his cost for doing the building.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
You wanna see that too? Okay.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
think that for you guys, start it with one day, maybe 6 hours a week.
Yeah.
Just start something in 6 hours a week.
And if we need to move it,
And we're gonna let you push the Benton County side of that, so you're not having to pay me, but if something were to come up, cause I can walk into the commissioners meeting or, Ron Shaw, who's one of your county council members, I could, say something to Ron, but I don't think that you need to pay me to be going up and sitting in the meeting up there to push that, hey, we're gonna take over our own. If you guys could go to one of those meetings, say, hey, we wanna take over the
Yeah.
town, do our own inspections. We've already got things put in place, we're using the same person that Audubon's using. We use the same policies that they have, and you're just gonna have to adopt it. Because your attorney, Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Judd understands all that too, so. He's gonna bill you something, I don't wanna double bill, I don't wanna bill for my time, for him doing that side of it, but. We would be here to, to give you the documentation and, and start the inspection process.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have 4 things on it, we'll have 4 different quotes on this. And I'll give it to Tina, and then you
Yeah.
guys can, if you ever have any questions, I brought my business cards again.
yeah,
I'll give it to you, you have it. Call me, pick up the phone. I'm not an attorney, I'm not gonna wait by every 15 minutes. If you call me and say, I have some questions, you're not getting a bill.
Yeah.
So.
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take another, I'll add you to my phone this time. It's my own fault. Thank you, sir.
You still have mine.
Yeah, I'll take another one. Okay. I'll do that, okay.
Do you have questions, Tina?
I don't think so. I do have.
You look very familiar,
I do
but I'm
have
not
an
sure.
ADA
what.
book,
Oh,
Thank you.
that you can want us to take a look at that.
Yeah.
I do have an ADA book that was from, Christie, because she was the ADA coordinator, I guess.
So you guys have adopted it at some point?
Probably not
I'll
anything,
pull that book and
Okay.
find her and,
it's probably not reviewing.
Well, here's the thing is, if you've adopted it, you probably adopted it as a 20-year program, and your calendar started whenever that was. Like, we ran into this Tipton County, they hired a company back in 2014, and they're like, and when the company they hired has never come back. That's my biggest thing is like, that's what they gave you as a start. It's probably 8 to 10% of what you need to do. They never come back and they're like, we've never seen anybody. And I said, well, here's the disadvantage you have with that. You're 12 years into your 20-year program. What are you talking about? It's like, you told the government, you told the Department of Transportation and DOJ that this was a 20-year program. I'm like, yeah, it's like, that was in 2014. This is 2026. You're 12 years into this. You have 8 years to finish this. They're like, Tim, there's no way we're gonna be able to finish this because we haven't done anything. It's like, I understand what you're saying,
but this is
But this
what
is-
it looks like on
this is-
paper.
this, okay. Oh, yeah, because his daughter was doing some stuff with ADA. Isn't his daughter?
Ingrid?
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's your grievance procedure, your log, yeah, so they've given you the basics. Did they give you anything with Title VI? Because this is all the transition plan.
that's the only thing that I've
that they've
seen that,
Okay. So, yeah, they've given you, although they do have Title VI in here too. They have all. Yeah, you're gonna find that this is 2019, so.
out there.
really do.
Was it adopted then, though?
I don't know. I could go back, see if I can find
I mean,
anything.
if it was adopted, there should be something.
Surely Judd would have notes or records on
Yeah,
his end.
actually, since it was
It
all
should have
from
been
them.
signed by, there should be pages in here for council members to sign.
Unless it was just presented and never
I don't know.
adopted.
Yeah, so if it wasn't signed, you're in good shape. Because it would start in 2026. Yeah, this is, your transition plan will be, this is transition and Title VI.
Okay.
So you know what Title VI is. You can't discriminate for age, sex,
Oh, yeah.
gender. Title, because in your Title II is a government entity, or a Title III. So this is one of the other things that we have to do for you is for you to hire us to do anything. For you to hire anybody to do anything for you other than give you a product. If somebody's gonna do any type of service for you, they have to have a transition plan that was a policy.
Okay. That
So
makes sense.
for you to hire me, I've got to give you mine.
Sure.
It's required now. And I saw this coming 8 years ago. So I said, DOJ used to be in charge. They couldn't do it. They pushed it down to Department of Transportation. Department of Transportation, 10 years ago, started the process of, we can't do all this. There is no way. We don't have enough people.
Right.
What do? Typical government, they push it down to the small municipalities and say, now we're going to require you need to make sure that the people you're hiring have an ADA transition plan in Title VI. So for you to hire me on our website, but I have to give you a copy of it and you have to keep a copy of it. So all the towns that we work with, when they hire anybody, engineering firms, your wastewater treatment stuff, anybody that you hire, they have, and they're gonna say, well, we don't have one, then I am not allowed to hire them. I can't.
Right.
Or licensed through the state. They have to be licensed through the state now. They have to go through their whole process to be licensed or qualified. And when you read the FHWA, Federal Highway Administration 1273, 14-page document, I have to follow all things in that 14-page document. Or if it's a DOT project, I have to follow the DOT 1205.2, which is another 11-page document and it all has to do with ADA, that we are going to do everything with ADA. I'm going to say this, one other thing that you're going to need to do, and I'm going to ask the question first. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Do you guys have a document that when you send stuff, like I'm going to give you a quote.
Yeah.
You're not going to sign, you're going to sign my quote, but my quote is an addendum to yours. Your paperwork is a 5-page document that we put together for other communities that says e-verification, ADA, Title VI, FHWA 1273, DOT 1205.2. I'm signing your contract. Mine becomes a part of your contract. So I can't do anything for you until I sign yours. Why? Because your contract is telling the world that I have to follow everything in line with what is in your contract.
Gotcha.
And that's going to cover you. So when somebody comes back and they do a sidewalk project and it's not correct, you go back and say, 1273, this is what you were required to do. You didn't do it, tear it out and replace it. Well, who's going to pay us? Nobody, because you said you were going to do it right. If you signed my document, said you were going to do what's right. So we're not paying you to do the project wrong. Because when you walk away and somebody comes and files a grievance against us or a lawsuit against us, it's you. It's not us.
Right.
Because we hired you to do what is right. So I will get you a copy of that.
And you said that's all service providers?
Any service provider that you hire.
Has this. Okay.
And you'll be surprised how many don't have
Yeah.
something. So this is my last sales pitch today.
No, yeah.
That is, when you go to somebody and they don't have one, tell them to call me and we'll put one together for them.
Okay.
They're gonna pay for it,
Sure.
but, so, in that document too, when you put something out for bid, and the low bidder doesn't have because it says in there that you have to supply, if asked, they have to supply their ADA transition plan Title VI. They don't have to give it to you in the bid package, but they're going to say that they do have a policy. So when you open bids and then you say, we're going to take everything under advisement, and then you go back to the low bidder and say, hey, look, we need a copy of your ADA transition plan Title VI. Well, we don't have one. Well, then you're no longer the low bidder. We can't accept your bid. So you go to the next one.
So what happens if we call the Atlas and ask them for that right now?
Atlas will have one.
They would have.
I mean, I figured, but I'm just saying,
Atlas
for
has
instance.
one, Reith Riley's got one, Walsh has got one.
Yeah.
You'll find it's the smaller guys out there,
They're like, what's that?
yeah, that's what you hear. That's what that John Houston from Houston Electric. This has been 10 years ago. He was talking to me about this, and I just told him, I said, if you want to get some bids that you don't get because you're not low bidder, you need to tell them this. And especially in West Lafayette, because they'd already had the contract. I'd already put the contract together for them back in 2014. So he was second bidder on a project, which was the wellness center.
Oh, yeah.
So, or Dennis. So, you gotta do is ask the question. So he paid me to put it together for him, and then he went in and
You
said,
got it.
I wanna know if the company, the low bidder was on it, which was Gaylord, and they have their AD transition plan Title VI. And I said, well, we don't know. He's like, well, you have to know it's in your paperwork for your bid.
Yeah.
So Larry Owens went back and looked at it and come back and said, yeah, they don't have one. He said, they don't low bidder. Here's money.
Yeah,
And got the project.
that's awesome.
And it was a $1.3 million. It's like, that was the best $10,000 I've ever spent.
Right, right. Awesome. No, appreciate your time. and-
Yeah,
But you know, you're gonna find in other communities are gonna tell you the same thing. I'm gonna be doing things for you that I'm not gonna send you a bill for. We're here to help, you know. We're gonna be fair.
Yeah.
You know, but there's gonna be things you're gonna call me up, or I may be an auditor and say, hey, you're this close. Can you buzz over here real quick? Sure.
Yeah.
Are you here 2 hours? No, I'm not gonna send you a bill for my 2 hours. If it turns into something bigger.
Right.
I'll do that, but I'm not gonna go back and say, I'm gonna bill you for, I'm gonna put that 2 hours on the project at that point, because, you know, so that's just the way we do things. I umpire a lot of baseball games, it's the same way, and you don't need to pay me, this is for the kids.
Yeah.
So,
We appreciate it. Excited.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, we-
Thanks for pushing this, Tina.
could you scan this and email it to me?
Yeah. absolutely. Yeah, I really haven't even, I knew it was there, I just not knowing what I'm.
Yeah, we're gonna
looking
make you a document. I mean, that's, if we do this for you, we're gonna make you, we're gonna sit in a meeting, you know, it's gonna be a resolution, whatever, 2026 dash, whatever you're up to.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna adopt ADA, you know, we're gonna, part of the adoption is we have to do, how many buildings do you have in town
That belong to us.
that you own?
1, 2, 3, including the water treatment plant. 4, 5.
probably 8 or 9.
Well, you got
There's
more than
the
ours.
shelter and
Yeah, we got the shelter, we got Old Academy.
Park,
Huh?
Yeah.
you know, park,
2 of them.
We got 3 parks.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We can't get them in parks.
we have to go through and do an evaluation on all the parks, or all the buildings, on any properties that you own. Because that's gonna become, which is not in there, your living document. And what a living document is, when we say that it's gonna take us 20 years to go through this, you have 20 years to fix those things that are in the living document. A living document is something that you're going to have, whoever's your ADA coordinator, maybe us at the time, but somebody will be designated. So we'll have a master, and then we'll have the individual buildings and parks. So when something gets completed, somebody's going to say, pick one of the parks, it's, you know, the Dan Patch Park.
Yeah.
And we put in a new handicap swing on March the 19th of 2026. But the date, 2026, initial, we were solved that it was actually complete. Then they report that back to the master copy, and we have to send a copy of the master to the state once a year. And these are the things that have been completed.
Gotcha.
So that's why they call it a living document, because it's always changing. And
Sure.
it's all, and the things that are on there, are the things that you're updating that were not ADA compliant.
Awesome.
So that's when we do the ADA stuff, part of the quote is going to include us hitting all the buildings. I mean, this building, you know, it's just all the doorknobs are,
well, this one's not
It does not belong to us.
which are in the building.
rented.
Well, sure. Okay, that makes sense.
So you still have to, because you're in the building.
Which we'd need to look at when we want to transition over, because that's pretty well. There's not really anything we're waiting on at the moment.
So how many employees do you have? You're elected, you guys are all elected.
Home,
Four.
6.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6.
6 people. And sleep all under, fire department's volunteer, right?
We own that building.
Yeah, I forgot about that building.
We do own that building.
So I have to have a list of what the buildings are.
Yeah, we got too much stuff. You're down a building, let's make a park.
More parks.
Got the town
Liquidation.
square, got that little park of music. All of them are all
Give
in
away,
there.
give away a building,
Yeah.
Yeah,
give away a building.
don't ever do that.
That's a write-off, right?
Don't ever give away, though. Don't ever give away land. We're dealing with that with Culver right now. 25 years ago, they gave lakefront property to some developer, and they're going, why did we do that? We need that now. It's like, I can't help you.
Yeah. Too
I
bad.
guarantee you right now, it's gonna be a whole lot more expensive than what it was 25 years ago.
Right.
So,
Yeah, awesome. Really appreciate you.
no, I appreciate the time, and, we'll put some things together and get them over to Tina.
Look forward to it.
Scan this in,
When is your next meeting? It's next week?
Monday.
Monday's another special meeting.
So it'll
Well-
be the next meeting. I won't be at the next meeting. It'll probably be, because yours are the
First,
and third.
third.
first and third Mondays of the month.
Yeah, so it'll be the 6th. Yep, that's Easter Monday.
Yeah.
It's the 6th and the 20th.
So it'll be the 20th, it'll be the meeting I'll be able to come to.
Well, that'd be probably,
Oh, no, I could probably come to the 6th.
well, wouldn't Ingrid and then be on the second meeting for the month? The 20th?
They said they could come to the one on the 6th.
I'll just play for the 20th.
Yeah, it gives it right time.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
have to
it's
look at
not-
it.
Ask questions.
No, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Appreciate it and look forward to seeing it and seeing you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Tina.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
All right.
You wanna,
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right.
Aye.
All right.